All right, Hannah, happy Friday. We are on lesson 74. Please open your book to lesson 74 on page 397. I'll wait a minute for you to get there. It is writing fractions as decimal numbers. Last topic we talked about was lesson 73, which was exponents and writing decimal numbers as fractions. Now we're writing fractions as decimal numbers. So I hope you are on page 397, lesson 74. The new concept up the bottom. We learned earlier that a fraction bar indicates division. This is the fraction bar, the bar between the numerator and the denominator. That indicates division. So the fraction 1/2 also means 1 divided by 2. 1 divided by 2 is equivalent to 1/2. So which we can write as 1 divided by 2, like that. By attaching a decimal point and 0, so decimal point and 0, we can perform the division and write the quotient as a decimal number, quotient being the answer. So, as you set it up like this, 1 divided by 2, you're going to add that decimal place and that 0 and divide. We know that 2 cannot go into 1 evenly, so we put a 0. There's a decimal place here, a decimal point, so you have to line up those decimal points. So 2 does not go into 1, so we put a 0 and a decimal point. So now we look at 10 divided by 2. 2 goes into 10 5 times. 2 times 5 is 10, no remainder. The answer is 5/10. We find that 1/2 equals the decimal number 5/10. To convert a fraction to a decimal number, we divide the numerator by the denominator. We divide the numerator by the denominator. So let's look at example 1. Convert 1/4 to a decimal number. Knowing that you use the numerator and denominator, we divide the numerator, which is 1, by the denominator, which is 4. 1 divided by 4. You have to have the decimal point and the 0 at the end. The fraction 1/4 means 1 divided by 4, which is also seen like this. By attaching a decimal point and zeros, we can complete the division. 4 cannot go into 1, so we put a 0. Here's the decimal point, so we line it up like that. Then we look at 10. 4 goes into 10 2 times. 4 times 2 is 8, with a 2 left over. We bring down that 0. Because 4 goes into 20 5 times, with no remainder. So 1/4 is equivalent to 25 hundredths. Example 2 shows you how to use a calculator to figure this out. So if you want to borrow a calculator and play around with that, go for it. When we have a number, a whole number with a fraction, as a decimal, write 7 2/5 as a decimal number. The whole number part of 7 2/5 is 7, which we write to the left of the decimal point. So first you're going to do the math to figure out the decimal point, so you're only going to focus on the fraction part. 2/5 is equivalent to 4/10, as we found out in this division problem. You're just going to tack on the 7 in the whole number spot in your answer. Do not forget that whole number, okay? Your homework is the letters A through I, and then 2 through 20 evens.